So this tutorial is going to cover how I as a teacher create a planning diagnostic for my students in order for them to take and figure out what they do and don't know, and so NoRedInk can help target the instruction that that specific student needs. Before I do anything, one tip I have for using this site is I'm going to add all my classes first before making an assignment. I mean, you can go back and fix things afterwards, but having done this a few times, I'd rather have all my classes added first. So I'm going to add a class, and I'm going to make another 8th grade class, and I'll make 2 more language arts classes. I'm going to pause the video and do that. So I've gone ahead and created my perfect teaching day as a teacher, which is to start 2nd period and then be able to go home 4th period, and have 3 solid language arts classes all in a row. Each of these language arts classes has a delightful course code, which students will use to access my class. Now there's all sorts of options that we have here in terms of managing students and editing class and whatnot, and we'll go into those later. But right now we're going to get into it and we're going to create an assignment. So to start that, we're going to go up to assignments right here. This is not the only way to get there, but it's how I'm going to do it. So I click assignments and I'm going to create a new assignment. When I go to create an assignment, here's why I created all my classes ahead of time, because now I can mass assign the assignment to all my classes. Now I can choose, do I want NoRedInk conventions? This tab covers the more traditional grammar instruction, or NoRedInk writing. NoRedInk Premium gives you access to some more options. For me, I'm just going to start with a basic grammar planning diagnostic. So I click Planning Diagnostic. Now I need to hit Select Content. Now for some reason I wanted to use different questions for each class. Maybe my period 3, I know they have commas, but period 4, they've never seen a semicolon in their life. I'll do this, use different questions for each class. But in this case, I'm not going to because they're all 8th grade. What I'm going to do next is select content. When I actually go to select that content, the default is to all grades. What I should probably do is first filter these topics by the grade level that my class falls into. One important thing to know when you go about selecting content is the concept of a pathway. A pathway is taking something like active and passive voice and breaking that down into a sequential series of conceptual understandings that would lead someone to fully knowing what active and passive voice are. And when you are doing a planning diagnostic and you select a topic, you can't actually see what the subtopics are in that pathway. If I were to hit Done Selecting and then switch this to a unit diagnostic, now it shows me what those pathways are. These different things are the different subtopics within active and passive voice that a student's going to cover. So for example, if I hit Add More and I see I'm selected with unit diagnostic, now that I've selected things, active and passive voice, I can see, and I could actually toggle different pathways or different sections of that pathway on and off. You'll notice any lock icons, those come with having the premium version of NoRedInk. So if I want to do a unit diagnostic, it allows me to get really granular in terms of what specific subtopics or subconcepts within a larger concept do I want to assess. If I want to do just a planning diagnostic, I'm just going to hit active and passive voice, and we have 5 questions, and my guess would be that each of those 5 questions is going to cover one part of that pathway. I would really advise you as a teacher that even if it is a planning diagnostic at the start of a semester or a quarter, to just really limit yourself in terms of how many topics you pick. I know the first time I went and did this, I was really inclined to just go nuts. I gave my students a 90-question pretest because I wanted to see what they knew out of the whole of everything I wanted them to know about grammar. And in the end, what that did was, because I was picking things that I thought students probably wouldn't know in the first place, it ended up with a lot of students taking a 90-question quiz where they knew nothing and felt very defeated right off the bat. And so if we're picking good topics that we think that our students need to know, they're probably going to bomb a lot of this stuff when they start doing the planning diagnostic quiz. And so we want to think, to what extent do I want to force students to sit at this computer working on a program they've never used before, never seen the gains of this programming, having no idea really what this is all about, and just other than I'm bombing 90 questions on a quiz right in a row. So as you're setting up the planning diagnostic, be selective. I'll maybe do 3 or 4. These are definitely chosen at random right here. 16 to 25 minutes estimated. Sounds great. Done selecting. I'm great. I give this quiz a name such as like Grammar Pretest 1. I'm giving it a number on there too because I think I'll probably do more than one of these because I want my students to know more than just this year for grammar, but I don't want to bombard them with a bunch of questions they can't answer. Start date, I can pick whenever I want students to access it, and then I'll set a due date for it. And if I want to allow students to submit it late, I can hit allow late submission, and I'll create that planning diagnostic. Now that planning diagnostic has been created, I can, as a teacher, see what this looks like for my student. In the previous video, we logged in as a student and saw what it looks like to go to a dashboard but have nothing to do because I, as a teacher, didn't assign anything. Well, what I used to do in sites like this was I had to create a test student account. NoRedInk has this great button, View as a Student. If you click that, this shows you what a student sees. And you, as a test student, could go through and click your way through this test and kind of see what's on the test. In the next video, I'm going to cover how a student uses their interface to effectively maximize being on NoRedInk and getting the most out of it.